all focused around purchasing and buying, perpetuating the cycle.
Hey, as long as I'm paying them, they getting their interest, they happy, I'm happy. I'm getting what I want, they getting what they want.
We got one job to pay strictly for the credit cards, and you got one job to pay for your, rent, food, clothing, other, bills, stuff like that.
Basically, everybody lives way and beyond the means.
Paycheck to paycheck is basically how I get by.
I probably owe about a little over $20,000.
A little bit over $30,000.
Maybe about 10, 15,000.
10,000.
5,000.
10,000.
Maybe $6,000. Nothing, not a lot.
We needed to spend the money. We needed to spend the money. What are you going to do about it?
If it's necessary, then it's necessary.
Well, if we got the money, we'll pay it off. If not, we'll just make the monthly payment on it.
I'm just pay each month what I'm supposed to do, and that's all. No big problem.
That's the way it works. That's the way it works.
If I did poorly on a test, I would buy myself something. If I did well on a test, I would congratulate myself and buy myself something. I had no idea where this money would come from to pay for these things.
I had literally become so unaware of what was happening with that money that I found myself deeply in debt. I mean, it was literally like waking up to the fact that I was now $20,000 in debt because I had become acclimated to that life I was living. I was blind to what was happening with that money, and I just kept spending on my credit cards when the actual money ran out.
I didn't even know the magnitude of my debt. I was unaware of what kind of bondage that had me in.
I had about close to $20,000 in debt when I left college, not including a student loan, which was about $15,000 at the time.
I had about $30,000 worth of debt.
I was afraid to open my bills when they would come, and I would just push them aside because I knew I didn't have the money to pay them.
We were spending money that we didn't have many times, and no matter how hard we tried on our own, we just couldn't get caught up.
We were just throwing as much money as we could at our various creditors.
I was going through life thinking that, oh, someday it'll get paid off, and not really knowing when someday would be.
It was scary, and it was hopeless.
It seemed impossible. It seemed very impossible.
They kept adding late fees and increasing the interest rates.
Instead of taking this seriously and paying this off, I have doubled it.
The debt I was in only compounds itself.
What will happen in another 5 years? Will it double again?
The bills just got bigger instead of getting smaller, even though we were making payments every month.
It's a daily struggle. It hasn't been easy in the least bit.
I continue to make my monthly payments and just keep my head above water until Good Sense.
We called Good Sense.
They taught us how to use a budget, which was a very frightening thing at first because Jean was very concerned that all of a sudden she was not going to be able to spend money.
It's been a couple of years since I came to Good Sense Ministry, and I've made a lot of progress.
I'm really thankful now that it took 4.5 years to become debt-free because it took that much time for me to really see some patterns I was in, some ways of thinking, and for God to really change my heart in so many of these areas.
We've got about 6 months to go in this transitional housing program that we're in. And hopefully, with God's will, I will be debt-free by that time. It's looking that way, so we'll just see.
When the Good Sense Ministry counselors told me that it was okay and that I could get out of that situation, I felt so much relief.
When I paid one credit card off, although it was just a couple of $100s, I felt very hopeful.
When I look back over the years and we see the giving increase and the debt going down as we've worked at it, I've just seen so many times where God has blessed us.
God said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And I'll tell you, when I read those verses, it was like a weight came off my shoulders because I started to see a purpose in this debt. It wasn't going to be wiped out immediately, but I saw that in this weakness, God was drawing me to Him and teaching me what He wanted me to learn.
We are the ones that are in control now, and we're not being controlled, and it's an awesome thing.
It will take time, but you can get out of this.
There is hope, and God could help you with it.
I'm doing the work. As I said before, I didn't think it was possible, But God gave me a patience and a determination to really push forward. And it just seems like the work is being paid off.